Hello everyone, welcome to the Social Club Specials. Louis joins me from 100% Chelsea to discuss Chelsea transfers, which have actually started to happen now.
Yeah, I know, right? It's amazing.
It's
still. I'm still waiting for more because I want more players.
Yeah.
But it's because I think it's almost like when you say I need to get some money like from your dad, and then like it sends you like a tenner to shut up.
Yeah.
But then it's like, you get it and then you're quiet.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm not quiet because that's me as a person. So I'm there.
Money off your dad.
No, I love my dad. That, wrong. That makes me sound not like that. I am self-sufficient. I'm putting that out there now. All right. I don't need daddy's money. I'm okay. Even though I may be from down south, it's all right.
I mean, what I found fascinating doing a lot of these videos, and obviously they're all on the Boss channel. If you want to check back, we did West Ham last week, Spurs as well, the Everton lads. So the Everton lads before they went mental in the market, but I sense the tone amongst Chelsea fans has been a bit of unrest about the speed in which stuff has been getting done.
It's been worrying. It's a case of the ideal situation would be the season we got Costa, Fabregas. So we had them, it was done, come straight to pre-season, they settled in the squad, it's fine. The problem we got now is because we've been sort of just moving around the market and not being, I guess, just getting it done, we've lost out on players. We lost out on Lukaku as one example. Alex Sandro looks like it might not happen now. Bakayoko's not happening. Apparently we're turning him down because he's got a knee problem. But it's a case of, now that we've been trying to get these players and then we're not getting them. It's now a bit late to sort of go, right, we now have the time to go and scout players, go look at them to know what we want. Yeah. So right now it does feel like panic buy central, even though because it's a month away, the Premier League's a month away, basically. And it's a case of I'm just looking at it and I'm going, well, I prefer to have these players in so they can understand the squad and start, get the ball rolling. But I think because of the situation we're in, I think obviously it looks like we're destined for Serie A to go and sign more players from there because, apparently we're interested in Morata, and obviously Morata's already got a functioning relationship with Conte,
sure.
Which means, he might need less time to integrate, but still, it's not been cosy.
Well, where do you stand on that? Because most teams would be over the moon with the Morata, but given the choice, Lukaku was very much first by the looks of it. I mean, you can't be upset if you end up with Alvaro Morata, but they're not the same. They're not the same centre forward, not the same style of centre forward.
Well, obviously, I don't know. Not actually. Well, I remember Ped saying like Lukaku is a poacher, despite his size. I'd personally say Morata comes under the poacher / target man thing for what I've seen. So kind of they are a similar-esque kind of player, but I think that. Well, like you said, you can't be annoyed about getting Morata, but it's a case of, I would have liked Lukaku because when he came to Chelsea and beforehand, obviously, like he was saying, he talked about like the goal Jimmy Flood-Hasselbank scored against Man United, that made him want to support Chelsea. He was a Chelsea fan. That made me go, right, so this is a guy who clearly has some feeling for the club. Yeah. And would know what it would mean to pull on the shirt, even though it's not, coming through the youth ranks, all that, because, we don't do that, unfortunately.
No, of course not.
But I think that, I wanted him for those reasons. But obviously, when we covered the Euros last year, I was watching Morata and I was watching him in his group. He was insane. Like, he was ridiculously good. And it was the way he could hold up a ball. He was powerful, he was quick. He is a good striker. But obviously, there's the whole point of, like, Lukaku he was Premier League proven already. Knew what it meant to play in the league. He was ready for it, and which is why I think we wanted him the most. Mm-hmm. But then, obviously, Morata, even though he doesn't have that, I feel has all the capabilities and all the ability to function in the Premier League. And I think he'll do really well if we get him.
Yeah. Is it a concern? We've got the normal question we go through about likely budget, and in theory, Chelsea have got whatever budget they need to spend, but. You've just been gazumped on the Lukaku thing. Chelsea maybe haven't spent as big in the transfer market in recent years. Is that money still there?
I hope so. I'd be a bit worried if it wasn't. It's a case of, I think it's just a case. We've signed one player over £32 million, and that was Torres off EU. Yeah. That's it. And then now, look how that turned out. And I think they've gone, you know what, I don't want to spend that much money ever again. But the thing is, as the market's grown, as inflation's happened, as the overall quality of player has improved, the price goes up. Yeah. That's natural. And it's a case of we're not willing to do that. I think, we do need to go out there. We do need to spend the money. I hope it's available. If it's not, obviously there's the whole, everyone's talking about the stadium and all that. But let's be real here. I mean, this is Roman Abramovich. He's got billions to his name. So, there's no point in saying, we've got all these excuses.
It seems likely that there would be the money there to spend.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In terms of then any more likely ins, you mentioned Bakayoko. That looked as likely as any to happen, I guess. Matic is gone.
Yeah.
There's clearly a need to bring another guy in.
I think Matic was gone if Bakayoko came in. It's a case of now, because we haven't sold him yet, we don't have to get rid of him. I don't think he did a decent job for us last season, but in a lot of games I felt he was a passenger. I didn't really see him getting involved that much. Kante's everywhere, so he didn't really need to do that. But it's a fact of we basically had two destroyers in midfield, and what we really need is we need almost like an all-round box-to-box kind of midfielder in that role, like a Radja Nainggolan or a Claudio Marquezia.
Yeah.
And those are two players I'd like. But I mean, Matic, I think, could drop into what Mikel was, where it was a case of we just need someone to shore up the game. You bring on Matic, he'll just sit in there with Kante and just destroy everything, and it'll be fine. Yeah. And I think that's what he will do, because I don't think we are going to get Bakayoko now, because apparently he's got a knee problem. So we're not going to go in, we're not going to sign him because of that, and we're worried that it's going to have an effect. And if you're paying millions of pounds, obviously you're going to want somebody who's not going to be like injured all the time. Yeah. But I don't think Matic's gone. I mean, it's a different story for Costa. Like Costa.
Well, this guy can't help himself. Kind of. There was a quote that came out where he said, "When there is a fair fight, you stay and fight. But if there isn't, then you have to go."
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously the other quote of "If you go into battle, you come with me," and that's why we love him. But I mean, it's a case of, I just think Conte has been done over in this situation, because obviously he's head coach. He doesn't make the call on the transfers, because if he was manager, it'd be a different story. Sure. But it's Emanalo and this Abramovich's right-hand woman. She's Marina something Russian. I can't say it. I don't want to butcher it either. But it's a case of, they go out, they get the players, and where Marina's been very, very good at renewing contracts and keeping players, when it's a case of Conte's gone, right, I need this, and this, otherwise, we're not going to win anything. They haven't gone out and done it. Emanalo's he's brought Rudiger to basically hush Conte. But the thing is, he wanted Lukaku. He wants players so he can succeed. And the thing is, at the end of the day, it's not Emanalo or Marina's head on the chopping board. It's Conte. And if I was him, I'd be doing exactly the same thing. I've been saying, you want me to do a job, you're not giving me the tools to do it. Yeah. And he's obviously questioning whether to stay or not. And if we're not getting Bakayoko, but we don't sign anybody in that position. He's done it before. He left in pre-season at Juventus. He left at Bari as well. Bari, Jesus, I feel that's right. I can see him doing it again. If we just don't get these players, and then we're going to be minus someone who, obviously, when we finished 10th the season before, he was the glue to bring the fans and the team back together. And it wasn't just winning, but it was a case of there was almost a sense of fortification at Stamford Bridge again. Yeah. And, we'll miss that, I think, if he goes. Yeah. And it's going to be downhill again.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into some of the questions. Then we ask people to send in your questions for Louis. We start then with Sean Cleary, Sean_Cleary 93. Who should Rudiger replace in the back three? Is it time for Cahill to take a step back? Well, did he score like 7 goals last season?
Yeah, I don't think. Well, as a defender, he's not top caliber. Cahill, I think he's not going to go and win you a Champions League. But the thing is, for me, without sounding too much like Tommy Robinson, I do like an English player in my English Premier League team. It's a case of without him, we don't have any English players, and that's it. And it's kind of, for me, as you've seen it in Germany, you've seen it in Italy. If you have the players from that country in that team, I don't know, they might. I don't know what it is, but it's almost a sense of national pride, I guess, for me.
There's that, but there's also there's a understanding what the games mean, what the club means, etc., etc. And for as much as Chelsea get a lot of stick for the money they've spent and the change they kind of help bring about in the Premier League with the Abramovich money, John Terry and Lampard being the core of that team for a number of years, it does. I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah, it's a case of, I think he would be the most obvious one to take out, but Rudiger can also play in a wing-back position. He's done that for Roma this year. So potentially it won't be someone in the back three. It might even be Victor Moses that gets taken out, even though he had a fantastic season. I think, he can't do that 2 seasons on the bounce, and then towards the back end, people are starting to find out the 3-4-3. And it's this, every new formation that comes into the Premier League, it's going to be stopped eventually. And I felt for us that was starting at the end of the season, and it could have been that, or it just could have been an air of complacency. But either way, no, I think Rudiger might go in at a right wing back position because he's got that international experience. He's got the calibre at the top level of the game. Whereas Victor Moses, as fantastic as he is, I don't think has that top level quality. But it's the same for Marcus Alonso. They've both done a fantastic job. Yeah. You can't fault them. But at the same time, questions can be raised of, are they the player to take us forward? Yeah. And I'm not 100% certain Victor Moses is.
Okay. James Rean, who everyone will discover in the coming weeks, is the greatest centre-half on YouTube. As a Chelsea boy, I'm interested in us buying an attacker. I don't know who I'd like now Lukaku's gone. Opinions. And obviously we've talked about Morata already. Is it as simple as that? Is it as simple as Morata?
There's Morata, but then obviously on the table as well, going back into Serie A, apparently we're interested in Andrea Belotti from Torino. I'd love him. I think he's a good player. Bit of a tap-in merchant, but at the same time, his price tag isn't great either, considering they want 100 million euros. And I'm looking at the previous strikers and forwards that have come out of Torino over the past few years and thinking, don't particularly fancy spending that money after looking at Immobile, like Alessio Cerci. I think they were both shit, to put it quite frankly. I think when Immobile went to Dortmund, he really didn't do anything, and the same happened for Cerci when he went to Atletico Madrid. So I think, basically the only option for me personally, I'd like Morata.
Yeah, there's one actually follows it on. John Garcia, who's J_K Garcia, says could Batshuayi possibly lead the Chelsea front line next season?
Yeah, I think he could. I think this season the reason he didn't play was when he did come on. He weedy's the wrong term, but he didn't hold up the ball as well. Yeah. He's not Costa, put it that way. He's a different type of player. He's someone who runs in behind, and I think what Conte wanted was somebody who could potentially hold up the ball. And I mean, when he played against Spurs in the semi-final, he did a fantastic job. He kind of held up the ball, and he brought Pedro into play and other players. But the thing is, I think now he's had pre-season. Obviously, I think he's definitely bulked up a lot this season, and I think he's got the capabilities to lead that front line. But it's a case of he's the type of striker which I think needs a partner and needs a big burly one to knock it down for him.
Yeah. Okay, then moving on. Daniel Childs, son of Chelsea. Good old Dan.
The boy.
He says, hi mate, who do you think should be the next Chelsea captain? Odds on Cahill, Luis and Dave.
Well, if Cahill's taken out of the starting 11, obviously he can't be captain, even though he's been captain all year. You can't really be the club captain and be sat on the bench the whole time. I personally think that's a bit stupid. I think Azpilicueta, when I saw him get the captain's armband, it was a bit of a dark horse. He came on. It was the way when I watch him, he doesn't really marshal defence. He's sort of like the silent assassin who just like gets everything, clears at the ball, gets it away. But when he was leading, he really loves Chelsea. Like he's a player which really cares. But then on the same hand, you've got David Luiz, who has captained his national team. He loves Chelsea. Yeah. It's ridiculous how much he does. I mean, I've got a friend I go to university with, and she knows him very well. And she says he talks about it all the time. Like he's talked about being captain before. So potentially David Luiz could be the captain in that if it comes to that. But if Cahill isn't taken out of the 11, it'll be him, I think.
Okay. Bardi, TFC. Stormzy was mistaken for Lukaku today. He was, genuinely. If you had to sign one musician for your club to play up front this window, who would it be?
Jeez, I saw it on Twitter when I was on the train. I was actually thinking about it on the way up. I still don't know, but for me, it's sort of... I saw someone say it, and it was Sergio Pizzorno from Kasabian. He scored a banger at Soccer Aid. So I think I'd take him up front. And you got sort of the glitz and the glamour. You got like the player who's got a bit of flair about him.
I have a feeling on Soccer AM he might have done like a mad Rabona
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
I feel that's right.
Yeah.
See, my instant reaction, because it was like Liam Gallagher, but he's like this big, but he's scrappy.
Yes.
He's scrappy.
So
He's
true.
battle for you.
Yeah.
You know, for yous especially, I think he'd take on that Costa Nach role really
That's
well.
true. He could do that. I mean, if and then obviously you got, I don't know, someone who could just talk all the time. You got like Suggs or something from Madness, who's also a Chelsea fan. Can you imagine him up front? That'd be mad.
That would be.
It'd be insane. I'd love that.
That.
For me, I think Sergio puts on, you know, mate, if you're at a loose end, you know, come sign for Chelsea. It'd be fantastic to have you, mate.
He's a mad bastard. He's
brilliant. I love
him. Blue Boy, Mr. EH98. Who would you sign out of these strikers? Belotti, Morata, or Aubameyang? Now you've mentioned Belotti and Morata. Aubameyang could end up a chat, innit?
Well, obviously, I think AC Milan have tabled a 60 million bid, so he could be on his way to Italy. But I don't know.
He for me fits that Chelsea profile of he's amazing. He's absolutely at the peak of his powers. He's not going to be there for too long. It's never bothered Chelsea before.
No, that's
go
the
out,
thing.
splash the mega bucks, have him be all right for a season or two, and then sell him on for buttons.
I don't know. For me, it's just the inner child and gamer coming at me, seeing Aubameyang saying pace, pace, pace. I want him in my ultimate team. But at the same time, I don't know. He fits the mould with everything you're saying, but he doesn't fit Conte's system at all. He literally is pace. That's what he is. I think when he first went to Dortmund, he started on the wing as well, didn't he? So he could potentially, if he came in, he could be that right winger role. But at the same time, we don't need that. Yes, you're on the wing. Yeah, no, I want to play up front.
All those goals you've scored. Yeah, that's not really a game, mate.
Yeah, no. So for me, I want Morata. That's who I want. And considering we've gone in for him now, apparently according to Sky, then yeah, can't go wrong. I'd love him.
So you go Morata, Belotti, Aubameyang if you had to order them?
I'd go Morata and then I put Belotti and Aubameyang on a par.
Sure.
Because
yeah,
why not?
Why not?
It's like I both like them, and I think if you're going to do it in terms of who's the better player, you go Morata. Well, obviously, this is me saying I want Morata. This is not saying he's better than Aubameyang because obviously Aubameyang's the best striker, but I'd want Morata, then Aubameyang, then Belotti, because Belotti's only really had one season in the Serie A to sort of adapt and play his game, because I don't know, one season paying 100 million euros. No, that's alarm bells ringing straight away for me. It's too much of a risk.
Okay, sound. Brilliant. Well, thanks very much for your questions. If you want more from Louis and 100% Chelsea, click the logo on the screen right there to subscribe to the channel. If you want more of these specials, you can do. They'll be on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ball Street. Last week I talked to Flav. There's his thought on Spurs transfer chances.